You also are going to have the oral traditions, the stories, the proverbs, right? The people who will be the griots or the griots, the African giles. The gile literally means blood in an African language. And why would they call a gile or a griot? Why would they call that person who is the keeper of the story, the keeper of our lessons, the keeper of our history, of our story, right? Why would they call them blood? That's how it's passed down through the blood. What? What do you mean by that?
That's how the story, like they tell their children,
Hmm.
their children will tell their children,
Absolutely.
will tell their children. So it's passed through the bloodline.
Through the bloodline, right? And so if that blood, if our story stops flowing through our community and our young warriors don't know who they are, don't know their story, what happens to the body of the community?
That's cut off.
Right? Begins to decay, right? So you had those griots, you had those giles, you had the stories. I read a book just last year. It was the best book I've ever read for that year. I mean, I'm talking about the best book I ever read. Best book I ever read. I don't know about that one, but it was a great book. One of the best books I ever read, though, of course, is 2,000 Seasons by Aikwe Armand. Y'all read that? 2,000 Seasons by Aikwe Armand. You should read it. But this book was called Zinzali. Zinzali. It's a book by a sister from Zimbabwe, right? And she is writing this book. These are letters to her daughter. Her daughter has just gotten accepted into Harvard. She's going to be going off to Harvard. So she says, I'm going to write you some letters just to give you some knowledge, some wisdom, my perspective on things as well. So you're not just going out there blind, right? And so in one of the chapters, she tells her daughter a story about when she skipped school to go be with a boy, right? Probably wasn't doing much, just going to play in the hills in Zimbabwe. But she skipped school to be with this boy. When she got home, she came onto the porch. Her father was there. He said, baby, go sit down. Let me talk to you, right? Let me talk to you. Stories are important. He said, let me talk to you. So he tells her a story about a young lady, a young wife, who has an older, sweet, gentle husband, right? But after a while, the young lady, she got antsy, got kind of bored with the relationship, and she fell in love with a boy from a neighboring community, right? And so after some time, they got fed up with having to sneak around and stuff like that. So the young man said, I'm tired of sneaking around. How about we poison your husband? He's old. No one would even suspect us. And then we can be together forever. She said, no, why would I do that? This guy is good to me, right? He's good for my family. I have a baby with this man. I cannot do that. You must not love me, he said. You must not want to build a better life with me. She wrung her hands, of course, and they poisoned her husband. He died. They ran off. And as they run off, they get to a river. He says, baby, look, on the other side of that river is the place where we'll start our new life, right? Me and you together, right? It's going to be a beautiful thing. It's just right over there. Let's go. They start wading through the river, and the baby begins to cry. The baby begins to raise all hell as they're going through the river. He turns back to the woman. He says, this baby is holding us back. We can have a brand new life on the other side. If we take this baby is not going to allow us to get there as we need to get there. Drown the baby. Drown the baby. She says, what? I can't, the flesh of my flesh, I cannot drown my baby. Are you crazy? You don't think we can't have another one when we get over there to our promised land? Right? You don't think we can have a better life? Just me and you? Start over anew? Again? She says, no, I can't do that. What did she do next? She drowned the baby. She held the baby under the water, right? Until the baby stopped moving. She says, now I've done it. Let's go. I don't even want to stay here anymore and think about what I just did. He looked at her. You monster. What kind of woman would kill her own baby? What kind of woman would poison her own husband? Who, if I take you across this river, who's to say in 5 years somebody else won't come sweet talk in your ear and you do the same to me? You're a wretched woman. I'm out of here. And he left her. That's a story, right? This is a story that in the book her father told her, right? She never knew whether or not her father understood what she had done because her father saw more than he spoke on. But he told her that story. She never saw that boy again. At the end of the story, he told her, you are a young woman. Don't let any man, boy, whoever take you off of your principles and your values. Do we tell those kind of stories to our young warriors today?
No.
We need to, right? It might not be, from us directly. Maybe it's from a movie. Maybe it's from a book. I definitely, when I read that part in that book, we have Kamali Academy. I didn't say, right? Kamali Academy's been around since 2009. We have an African Center school. We had a physical school for 6 years until I moved to Ghana in 2015. When I got back from Ghana, we started a virtual school. So now we have over 100 students in our virtual school all over the country, all over the world, even in Canada and West Africa, right? So, but once I read that, I said, I gotta share this with the students. I gotta share this with my students. So we read it together in class the next day. And their reaction was a lot like you. It was like, wow, what's going on here? Who's the villain in that story? It's tough, man. It's a tough piece, but our students will always remember that story. You will as well, right? And maybe you will pass that down to your children or to the students that you deal with, right? So they can understand that you do not bend and waver on the request of other people, right? Who might not mean you any good. So you had the oral tradition. We talked about the griots, the proverbs, the stories. What's your favorite proverb? African proverb. What's your favorite African proverb? Come on, you got to have them right here. Yes, sir.
Oh, the man who lived on the hill is mine. My mom always told me there's two men.
Uh-huh.
One lives above the hill. One lives at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
The man at the bottom is always looking up at the man at the hill. One, his life.
Mm-hmm.
One, what he has. Meanwhile, though, not knowing, the man up at the top is looking down at him because his life is simple.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that was always just because she would always tell me, "You're always looking up, never look down."
Gotcha.
So for me, it was like appreciate what you do have. Don't feel like you're always looking up at the hill to somebody else. And
No
what
doubt.
They have.
Absolutely. Comparison is a thief of all joy, right? What's your favorite proverb?
Be skilled in speech so you will succeed. The tongue of a man is his sword, and effective speech is stronger than all fighting.
Man, you got to say that one again, man.
Be skilled in speech
Be skilled. Hold on. Let me repeat it. Be skilled in speech. Go ahead.
so you will succeed.
So you will succeed.
The tongue of a man is his sword,
The tongue of a man is his sword.
and effective speech
An effective speech
is stronger than all fighting.
is stronger than all fighting. Beautiful, beautiful. And where's that come from?
I forget which African I tried to play.
Nice. Favorite proverb?
When the elder sees sitting down, a child will not leave and it stand the tallest tree.
Yes. If would an elder see sitting down, a child would not see sitting in the tallest tree. Absolutely.
Come on.
Favorite proverb? Yes.
The ears will never pass the head.
I'm sorry. The ears
Will never pass the head.
will never pass the head. The ears will never pass the head. I like that one. Y'all gotta have these proverbs. Come on, because the proverbs are the lessons. That's the wisdom of our ancestors, the wisdom of our culture, in a small little saying that can go a long way. I remember Baba used to tell me, right? I remember Mama used to tell me. I tell my daughter all the time, the tears that are falling from your face will not blind you.
Yeah.
Keep it moving.
Make haste while the sun shines.
Make haste while the sun shines. I gave you a proverb earlier, right? What was the proverb I gave you earlier about the shield?
You don't
make
build
it
a
on the
shield on
battlefield.
the battlefield.
You don't build a shield on the battlefield. So I'm a basketball coach, and whenever we're practicing early in the season and all that kind of stuff, that's when we're building our shield right now. You don't build a shield on the battlefield.
Where you stand and you will determine where
you
you
stand.
sit and hold
So where you stand in youth will determine where you sit in old age. What's my favorite African proverb?
We have already.
Talking about fire doesn't boil the pot.
Talking about what?
Talking about fire doesn't boil the pot.
I heard one. It was like a joke amongst men, but
Mhm.
it said the cow that goes to America and comes back returns as ground beef.
Dun, dun. That's deep.
Wow.
That's deep. That's deep right there. The cow that goes to America and returns and comes back
Returns as ground beef.
returns as ground beef. That's deep. And one of the beautiful things about African proverbs is that there's so many things, so many meanings it could have, so many different use cases you can say them in. I started learning African proverbs when I was in ninth grade. I had a substitute teacher, young brother, about 25, 24. He had locks, kind of looked like you, brother, right? He was a substitute teacher, and he came in and he was just talking about how I can be an intelligent African man, right? And be intelligent like and fight for my people like Malcolm X. Because at that time I really thought to be educated was on some white stuff. Right? Because that's all I saw. Right? And so when he left that class, miraculously I saw sitting on the desk somewhere in that class, sociology class, I saw a book of African proverbs. Maybe it was always there, but because he began to talk to me, that's when I noticed it. And I always had an African proverb on my tongue for every situation. We would be on Bourbon Street. I'm from New Orleans, right? We'll be on Bourbon. One of my friends, they'll see a girl. They was like, man, she fine. I'm about to go talk to her, right? And so he'll go over there, and she'll shoot him down, and he'll do that little shameful walk back on over there to us, right? And he'll say, man, she wasn't even that cute anyway. And I would say, 15 years old, got African proverbs on my head. I said, see, the monkey that cannot reach the ripe banana with his hands says it is rotten. You know what I'm saying? I used to have all kind of proverbs like right on the tip of my tongue, man. It was crazy. But if our young warriors know them, right? We used to have proverb battles at our school, right? How many proverbs back and forth? Give me a proverb. All right, you give me a proverb. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth is the wisdom of our ancestors, right?